Welcome back to the Mindful of You podcast. This is episode 46, Expectations Around the Holidays. Okay, so at the time I'm recording this, I just finished Thanksgiving weekend, and it actually went pretty well. I'm really, really tired, and I think I got sick, but what else is to be expected around the holidays? So speaking of the expectations, I wanted to talk a little bit about expectations around the holidays and how we can manage our expectations and enjoy things as they are. So 3 ways I've found to help manage expectations, particularly around the holiday season. And this is definitely still a work in progress. As for me, holidays are sometimes filled with a lot of disappointment because where there's expectations, there's a lot of room for disappointment. So I'm not the type of person who says you should have 0 expectations or 0 things you want surrounding holidays, but I do think that we should pick our battles, so to speak, and also once the moments arrive, trying to receive what we're given. So I found 3 ways that have kind of helped me, 3 different areas. So I'm just going to chat about those and we'll just jump into it. So the first way I found that helps in managing my expectations for the holiday is maintaining my routine. So it's really, really easy around the holidays to just slip into like this like veg state of like, I'm gonna just relax, eat, and all that stuff. And while there is definitely room for that, I've found that I really struggle a lot more if I'm not maintaining some sort of routine. So over this weekend, I actually still went to bed at the same time, which was really nice. And I definitely needed the sleep. And I'm still going to go take a nap after this because sometimes just the driving and, being around people and doing these kinds of things can just kind of be tiring. I don't know the science behind that. It just is. So I found that was helpful going to bed around the same time. I also still tried to get some workouts in, which I did cut back on that a little bit. I'm not going to be able to perfectly maintain my routine because that would be an unrealistic expectation, but maintaining semblances of it has been helpful. I found that one area that I did not maintain routine very well was surrounding eating. I think it's totally fine that like I ate more than I usually do. I'm not going to try and stop that from happening, especially in the winter months. But I did find that I actually wasn't just maintaining a regular eating schedule. Like I wasn't eating my first food until like 3 o'clock. And then I was like eating a lot for the rest of the day. So I think that's an area I could try to work on. That would help me, I guess, keep my head on straight, so to speak. So the second area I wanted to talk about, this is more of an area that we can work on managing our expectations, is reactions to gifts for yourself and to others. So I have taken the little love language test thing, and my love language is gift giving. I love giving and receiving gifts, and they mean a lot to me, and I know that about myself. So I'm not going to pretend like I don't have an expectation of getting a nice gift from my husband, but I am working on my expectations like surrounding what that gift is or the amount of thought put into it and things like that. Preparing myself now to receive what I'm given, and that makes it sound like I'm like prepping for disappointment, which I'm not, because my husband's pretty dang good at giving gifts, so I'm sure it will be something wonderful, but I still have just high expectations because it's something that's important to me. So I have tried not to really like hint necessarily at what I want. I'm just allowing him to, I've straight up said some things I want. So if he got me one of those things, then awesome. If he got me something he thought of, then awesome. But I'm just preparing myself to receive what I'm given, and I'm actually really excited. I have no idea what it is. One area that I am not managing my expectations well is the gift I'm giving him. I'm very excited about. I won't say what it is in case he's listening. But I know, like, I've got this idea in my head of like, oh my gosh, he better freaking love this. And maybe he will, maybe he won't, or maybe he will love it, but he won't show it in the exact way I'm expecting, right? So I'm trying to manage my expectations surrounding those things so that I can be a little bit more in the moment. So if you've noticed, I've used the phrase a couple of times, receive what I'm given. So this is a concept I learned from the Anxious Love Coach, who talks about receiving what she's given in from moment to moment, whether that be something positive, negative, or in a spectrum of things. She's talking about receiving a person as they are, or receiving a moment as it is. No matter what state we're in, what state our partner is in, being willing to just see the moment for what it is, and receive it to its fullest, whether that means that we're accepting disappointment or we're accepting love and excitement, just receiving and feeling each moment for what it is rather than trying to manipulate it into what we want it to be. So that's something I've been trying to do. It's helped me be like a lot more in the moment, also a lot less controlling, because if I'm willing to truly receive what I'm given, I'm not trying to contrive something that's not there. So the last area I wanted to talk about in which we can manage our expectations is surrounding traditions and memory making activities. So I am a huge traditions gal. I love the idea of like, oh my gosh, we do this every year and it's awesome and we love it. But like, it's also a high bar to expect all the same things to happen every year, especially depending on what it is. And expecting that if it does happen, that it's going to be the best day ever, right? If we ever go into a situation thinking it's going to be the best, I don't want to say we're setting it up for failure, because sometimes it truly is. It's awesome. But if we go into it like thinking, oh, this better be the best, or my husband better have a good attitude, or my kids better behave, or everybody better show up on time, that's going to set you up for failure. Because if you're doing that, one of those things isn't going to happen, right? This is like a huge struggle for me. And like my partner knows this. Like he knows that like I have high expectations surrounding activities and things with families, and he does his best and I do my best, right? But there's always some disappointment involved because I have a really hard time managing those expectations, right? One thing that helps is like communicating those, right? Like, this is kind of what I'm expecting to happen. And then being willing to be flexible when inevitably it doesn't go exactly how you want it to go. So like some things I'm looking forward to this winter are like, there's these drive-through Christmas lights by our house, and I'm looking forward to going to those. But what if we go and it's closed? Or what if we go and the line is forever long and it takes forever? Or what if we go and my husband's tired and he doesn't feel like talking a lot and he wants to be listening to music? Or what if I don't feel like talking a lot? You know, like it's, and I hate to just point out things that could go wrong because there's so many things that can go right. But a lot of times when we have those high expectations, like our brain is hyper vigilant and looking for danger, something that's going to ruin it, right? But we can allow ourselves, if we have the awareness and, be self-aware enough to realize that we struggle with this, it helps because it's like, okay, this is just me being me. This is something about me, right? So I'm not necessarily trying to change expectations or change who I am surrounding these things, but being prepared and knowing kind of, how I tend to be on these days helps me realize that, one, a little bit of disappointment is normal and is to be expected. And it doesn't mean that the day's gone horribly or that the holiday's gone horribly or that I should find a different spouse or a different family that I could enjoy these traditions with, right? It's probably because my brain is on high alert. So I am continuing to practice receiving what I'm given, being in the moment. And I truly already feel a lot more relaxed this holiday season. I've also communicated my expectations a lot better. And so We've almost gotten all the gifts for the year, so I'm excited about that. But I would just invite you to look at the areas where your expectations are high. And first step, just acknowledge that, right? That doesn't mean you need to go and change it or modify your expectations necessarily. Although if you feel ready to do that, I would invite that as a next step, right? Like what really matters? And if it really matters, are you communicating that to the people who have some control over the experience that takes place there, right? So I would just invite you to really work on receiving what you're given this season. Know right now you're going to love every gift, right? You're going to open it and be like, I love this. It's an avocado. I freaking love it. Like whatever it is, be excited and be grateful. And if you're not that in every moment, that's okay too. Expect imperfections out of yourself, expect disappointment. So those things are going to happen. But overall, we get time off work. We get time with our loved ones. So let's not waste it getting caught up in the little things. So anyway, that's all for this week. I invite you to really relish in this holiday season. And I would also invite you to stay tuned for next week. I'm going to be talking about my advice for the Grinch, sticking with this holiday season. So stick around for that. Make sure you're following the podcast or subscribe to me on YouTube, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye.